Hello, sports fans, and welcome to another edition of Scott Sports 101. I'm Scott Troller. We will talk Browns and NFL. We're going to talk some Cavs. We'll have a Tiger Woods update. We'll talk some Tribe, and we will talk some Ohio State and Cleveland State, and we'll have a tribute to and we'll talk about the NBA All-Star Game, and we're going to have a tribute to a longtime Cleveland broadcaster who was also the voice of the Cavs for 39 seasons, 4 decades, Joe Tate. And we're also going to have a tribute. I'm going to pay tribute to a Cleveland Rock legend, Michael Stanley, who passed away last Friday at the age of 72, and Joe Tate was 83. But we'll get to all of that. But first, here is today's Scott Sports 101 trivia question. Which player hit a clutch three-pointer to send Game 6 of the NBA Finals into overtime? I'll have the answer later in the podcast. Well, turning to the Browns, J.J. Watt won't be joining the Cleveland Browns, but they can still land a new defensive end. Many around the league, including Cleveland Browns fans, were shocked a couple of weeks ago on Monday at the news that J.J. Watt signed a 2-year deal with the Arizona Cardinals. The money, 2 years, $31 million, with $23 million guaranteed, makes sense. The weather makes sense, and even Watt announcing the decision himself makes sense. What doesn't make sense is going to a team that is still a long way from competing for a title. When Watt asked for his release in February, many speculated it was from not wanting to go through a complete rebuild and wanting to have a chance at a Super Bowl, when clearly it was about winning games but also getting paid. I'll never fault an NFL player for getting paid. It's human nature. It's human nature. It wasn't to earn as much money as possible, as 3 players are no different. I am surprised, though, that he didn't take a little less guaranteed money to go to a team that had a chance to win immediately. Honestly, while I was excited at the opportunity to have Watt on the Cleveland Browns roster, it's probably best that it didn't happen. Watt has shown he can be an elite player, but injuries have been too consistent as of late to invest that much money. At this point, no matter how you wanted Watt, it's time to move on and refocus on the next target. Here are three free agents this year that may end up being better fits at defensive end for the Browns in 2021 than Watt would have been. And number 3 is Jadeveon Clowney. A name that kept coming up last season was Jadeveon Clowney, landing in Cleveland. The former number 1 overall pick from 2014 has a solid NFL career, but has yet to live up to expectations. At age 28, this is likely his last chance to prove he is worth a major long-term extension. But he could be worth a 1-year deal for the Browns. After dragging out the process of signing last season, Clowney eventually picked up Tennessee Titans after multiple reports shared the Browns had offered him the most money. Clowney started 8 games and ended the season with 19 tackles and 0 sacks. While injuries have been a concern, Clowney had only missed 9 total games the previous 5 seasons before missing half the year in 2020. He also had back-to-back years of 9+ sacks when he was paired with J.J. Watt in Houston. After such a down year in 2020, expect the market to be a lot softer for Clowney. Next off season. However, he could be a perfect fit for the Browns because he doesn't have to be the number one guy with Myles Garrett already on the roster. As the number two guy, Clowney has proven he can be effective. Clowney would not be a long-term solution for the Browns, but certainly could be a one-year solution production, especially if the Browns could snag him for 13 or 14 million. This would also give the Browns a chance to draft a young pass rusher and give them a year to develop with minimal snaps. Now, and that was number three. Number two is Haason Reddick. Haason Reddick is likely the new flavor of the week now that Watt has signed with the Arizona Cardinals. Where there was previously a belief the Cardinals would re-sign Reddick after a monster year in 2020. There's now some doubt that will happen with the addition of Watt. Reddick is interesting. He came into the league as a defensive end, but at 6'1", 235 pounds, the team quickly moved him to a stand-up linebacker. Reddick was one of the worst linebackers in the league, and was quickly starting to see his dreams of playing in the NFL dwindle. Then last season, the Cardinals put him back down on the line of scrimmage and let him rush the passer. Not only did Reddick find a home, but he also ended the season with 12.5 sacks, 15 total tackles for a loss. If Reddick can focus on the full off season on moving to defensive end and add 15 to 20 pounds to his frame, he could end up being a pro bowl caliber player at the same time. It can't be overlooked that he only has 3/4 of a season of solid production. Andrew Berry knows he must be careful with Reddick. He likely fits slightly better in a 3-4 defense as the rushing outside linebacker. But he also proved he can play in the 4-3 scheme. The Browns will have to be careful to not get a one-trick pony who can only rush but struggles against the run. Now, why will Berry be so interested with only 1 year of production? Reddick could be willing to sign a team-friendly deal, multiple years with not a ton of money guaranteed, meaning if Reddick performs, he will get his money, but if not, the Browns can move on from him, and it would not cost them much. The market may be warmer than expected for Reddick because of the focus on pass rushers, but I think a deal may be very tempting for Berry, who is always looking the best bang for his buck. And that was number two. Number one, Carl Lawson. With Watt off the board, it's clear that it's clear at this point that the best fit for the Browns is former Bengal Carl Lawson. After having a massive rookie year with 8.5 sacks, the statistics have slowed down, but there is a lot of rumors out that the Bengals didn't know how to fully utilize Lawson. Lawson was the only pressure creator in the Bengals defense, which also drew a ton of double teams and great opportunities to his teammates rather than himself. In Cleveland, this would be the opposite for Lawson. He would have so many one-on-one situations, he could find himself with 12-plus sacks in 2021. Now, Lawson is the perfect fit in all ways. He is great. He is a great pass rusher, and he is efficient in the run game, and is coming from a similar defensive scheme, in Cincinnati, where Lawson isn't the perfect fit there, and will likely be a ton of teams after his services, which could create a bidding war, and that very well could happen, a bidding war for Carl Lawson. The good news for the Cleveland Browns is Lawson appears to be motivated to win 4 long years in Cincinnati, after 4 long years in Cincinnati, which will hopefully give them the upper hand. Teams like the Indianapolis Colts, Green Bay Packers, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Now, if they can't come to terms with Shaq Barrett, could also be in the mix for Lawson. To me, it looks like it likely comes down to the Colts and Browns, with the Colts recently bringing in Carson Wentz. The team may focus more on offensive weapons than adding to defense that was already strong in 2020. Now, keep this in mind. The Browns have the 26th pick in this year's NFL draft, in the first round of the NFL draft, and they also have picks in the second, third, and fourth rounds of the NFL draft this year. I'll let you know. On my next podcast, or one of my podcasts after that, and I think they have picks in. I don't think they have one in the fourth, but the fifth, sixth, and seventh rounds, or the sixth and seventh rounds. But we'll see. We'll see what they do. The defensive side of the ball needs the most help, and I will. I know I told you I was going to be down there podcasting from the job, but I don't think it's with the media going to be in there, the main area. I don't think they're going to let me do it with the media going to be in there, and it's going to be out to find a place to park downtown. It's going to be packed, so I will be podcasting on April 29th for round 1 of the NFL draft from my really good friend, from the Murphy house, home of my really good friend, Matt Murphy. And my special guest will be none other than, as I just mentioned, my really good friend is one of my best friends, Matt Murphy. And we'll we will continuously podcast from the first pick of round 1 till the last pick, and I will, Thursday and Friday, every Friday and Saturday, continuously podcast as I did last year. I'm going to have to take a break to upload this first video. I will come back and reveal the answer to today's Scott Sports 101 trivia question, and I will give a Tiger Woods update. So stay tuned. I will be right back.